Welcome back. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're taking a single piece of professional communication, just a short message, actually. And our goal is to turn it into something you can use immediately. We're really focused on that transformation, moving from that initial feeling of confusion to real clarity.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Because our mission today is all about breaking down a barrier that I think everyone listening has faced. It's the language of the modern office.
Oh, absolutely.
We got this source material from a listener who was, you could feel the stress. They were just completely overwhelmed by a 3-sentence message from a new manager.
Just 3 sentences.
Just 3. And they said it felt like they had missed the class where everyone else learned this whole new dialect.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because that feeling is so universal, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get an email or Slack message, and it reads like it's in another language.
Hi.
You know all the individual words, like circle and back, but when you put them together, they suddenly become this abstract concept, and it completely hides what's actually a very simple request.
It's a perfect case study. It really highlights how fast this jargon evolves and, more importantly, how it becomes sort of a password for effective communication.
A password, I like that.
Yeah, because if you don't know the language, you risk missing the real meaning or mismanaging your own time because you don't realize how big the ask is. It's a knowledge barrier disguised as efficiency.
So let's state our goal for this exploration very clearly. We are going to translate 4 key phrases from that confusing message. We're going to break them down into simple, fundamental ideas. We want to make sure you walk away not just knowing the definition, but understanding why people use these terms and how you can use them yourself.
We're really going to slow down and articulate each one because I think the speed of how we work today often hides the real meaning behind the words.
I agree. Let's get right into it. The corporate conundrum, and the message that started this whole thing.
Okay, I want to read this quote exactly as it was sent to us.
Yeah.
And as you listen, I want you to try and put yourself in that person's shoes. You're busy, you're up against a deadline, and this message from a senior manager pops up.
Okay.
He wrote, "Mia, let's touch base later. I want to circle back on the project. Do you have the bandwidth for some deep work today?"
Wow, that is a classic. That's like the greatest hits of corporate slang all in one place.
Right.
It sounds so sophisticated, so abstract. It makes a simple request feel like this huge, complex thing.
It really does. And your first reaction is to feel like you're already behind, like you should just know what that code means. Yeah. But the central idea of our whole exploration today is that this message, even with all its jargon, is actually just a very simple request.
Okay.
It's asking for 3 things: a meeting time, a way to prioritize a topic, and a check on your capacity to focus. That's it.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to use a specific strategy for this. For each of these 4 terms, we'll hit 3 points. First, the simple, plain English meaning.
The translation.
Exactly, the translation. Second, why people use it, what's the hidden function. And third, how you can use it, the practical application.
Okay, so let's start with that first one, the one that's all about managing tiny blocks of time.
Let's do it. Decoding term 1. Touch base. The core definition here is it's actually wonderfully simple. When someone asks to touch base, they just mean, let's talk briefly.
That's it.
That's it. Or let's catch up on one specific thing very quickly. Your boss just wanted to have a fast, focused chat. It's not a formal meeting.
But the interesting part is the why. Why use that phrase?
Yeah.
Why not just say, can we talk for a minute?
Right.
And the answer is all about efficiency and professional respect. The phrase touch base is a signal. It sets a very clear expectation about how long the conversation is going to be.
It's a resource management tool, isn't it? Think about the difference. If someone says, let's have a meeting, what does your brain do?
Oh, instantly.
Yeah.
You think, okay, calendar, block out 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Is there an agenda? Do I need to prepare something?
It's a major commitment. It takes up mental space.
A huge one.
Yeah.
But touch base does the opposite. It actively works against that expectation. By its very nature, it says this will be short. 5, maybe 10 minutes.
Tops.
It'll be about one single thing. And this is the important part. You shouldn't need to do a lot of prep work. It respects that you're in the middle of other things.
I love that analogy of sailing. A ship doesn't have a meeting with a port.
Right.
It touches base. It pulls in just long enough to get supplies, check its course, and then it's gone. It keeps moving.
Yeah.
The whole point is not to stop the journey.
And that's the fundamental principle here, maintaining momentum. A touch base is designed to solve a small problem without derailing the main work you're doing. If the problem was big enough to derail your work,
It would be a meeting?
it would be a scheduled, formal meeting with an agenda.
Exactly.
So what about the nuance? Sometimes it's spontaneous, someone just drops by your desk. Other times it's scheduled.
That's a great point. The spontaneous one is usually very casual. Hey, got a second to touch base on the numbers? It's low stakes.
Right.
A scheduled touch base, like let's touch base at 10:15 tomorrow, is a bit more structured. You might need to have one data point ready, or a single slide. But the rule of brevity still applies. If that 10.1T5 touch base starts creeping towards 10.45,
Red flag.
big red flag. The proper etiquette is to stop and say, you know what, this is clearly a bigger topic. Let's schedule a proper meeting to give it the time it deserves.
And this connects directly back to how you, the listener, can use this. If you need a quick answer from a very busy person,
Yes.
asking to touch base is so much more effective than asking for a meeting.
Yeah.
You're signaling from the start, I respect your time, this will be fast, I just need this one piece of information to keep moving.
You're showing competence. You're showing you're organized. But what about the flip side? What if your manager uses touch base, but their quick chats always turn into 45-minute ordeals?
That's where you can use the language to professionally manage them. You can respond by saying, happy to touch base. Since I think we'll need to review the data in detail, which might take about 30 minutes, should we put a formal meeting on the calendar instead?
Ooh, that's good. You're using the term's own definition to enforce the boundary.
Precisely. You are professionally defining the scope. So, touch base is simple, it's brief, it's efficient, and it's all about respecting momentum.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for a quick check-in. But what if a big topic comes up during that touch base? Something you can't solve in 5 minutes.
Well, that leads us perfectly into the second term from the message, the one that's all about deferral.
Circle back.
Circle back. And these two are often used together because they're both about managing the flow of a conversation.
The definition for this one is also really visual, which I think helps it stick. If you imagine drawing a circle, you always end up back where you started. So the simple translation is just to return to a topic later. That's all it is. Let's talk about this again, but not right now.
And when someone says that, it serves a dual function. It's confirming two things at once. First, that your point is valid and important.
Right, it's not being dismissed.
It's not being dismissed. But second, it's confirming that now is not the right time to discuss it. It's a way of protecting the current conversation's focus. It's like putting a topic in a temporary parking lot.
A parking lot. I like that. So let's get into the context. When do people actually use this most?
I see three main situations. The first is the most common in a big meeting. You have an agenda, you're trying to get through it, and someone brings up a tiny technical detail that will derail everything.
Like you're discussing the entire marketing strategy for next year, and someone asks about the hex code for the new logo.
Perfect example. A good meeting leader will say, that's a great question. Let's circle back on that offline and keep focused on the strategy for now. It's a polite way to shut down a tangent.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second scenario?
The second is when someone doesn't have the information they need. You ask a direct question in a meeting like, what was our total spend in Q2? And the person responsible says, I don't have that exact figure in front of me. Let me circle back with you this afternoon.
So it's a way to avoid guessing or giving bad information under pressure.
It's a professional IOU. I owe you an answer, but I need to go get the correct one first. It's a sign of diligence, really.
Okay, and you said there was a third, more nuanced one?
Yes. And we have to talk about this one sometime.
Yeah.
Let's circle back on that. It's just a polite way of saying, that is a terrible idea and I want it to go away.
The soft veto.
The soft veto. It avoids a direct confrontation in the moment. Instead of saying no, which can feel harsh, they defer it, hoping the idea will just lose steam and disappear.
So how do you, as the listener, know the difference? How do you know if it's a real deferral or a polite rejection?
Context is everything. The tone of voice, the body language. But more importantly, it raises the most critical question about this phrase. Whose job is it to actually do the circling back?
Ah, yes. The responsibility question.
It's almost never stated out loud. And here's the rule of thumb. If you were the one who raised the topic, or if getting an answer is critical for your work, the responsibility is on you.
You can't just sit back and wait.
Never. If you wait, especially if it was a soft veto, that topic will never be mentioned again. That's often the whole point.
So what's the actionable advice here? What should someone do the moment they hear, let's circle back?
Two things, immediately. First, make a mental note or a physical one. Write it down. Second, and this is the pro move, You send a follow-up email right after the meeting.
Give us a script. What does that email say?
It's very simple. Great discussion today. Just confirming that we're circling back on topic X once you've had a chance to pull the data. I'll follow up on Tuesday to schedule a quick touch base to finalize it.
Oh, that is brilliant. You've used both terms, you've put the ball in your court, and you've set a timeline. You've taken control of the circle.
You've taken ownership of the follow-up. And that shows incredible professional maturity. So circle back isn't just a pause button. It's a pause button that comes with a homework assignment for you to schedule the unpause.
I love that. Okay, so we've handled the structure of a conversation and how to defer topics. The manager's message then moves on to capacity.
Yes. The third term, bandwidth.
And this one is so important to get right because its meaning has shifted so much over the years. We need to be crystal clear. In a professional context today, bandwidth has absolutely nothing to do with your internet connection.
Nothing at all. It's a metaphor. It simply means your available time, or more accurately, your available mental energy, your capacity.
So if someone says, I just don't have the bandwidth right now, what they're really saying is,
They're saying my time, my focus, my ability to think deeply, all of those resources are completely used up by my current projects. It's a statement about being at full capacity.
let's use that computer analogy to really make this concrete. Your brain is like a computer's CPU. It has a limited amount of processing power. If you're already running 10 really demanding programs, a big report, a client presentation, 3 other urgent projects, your CPU is at 99%.
It's maxed out.
It's maxed out. So when your manager asks, do you have the bandwidth for this new task? They're asking, is there any processing power left on your CPU, or will adding this new program crash the whole system?
And it's not just about crashing, it's also about performance.
Yeah.
If you add that 11th program, maybe the system doesn't crash, but now all 11 programs are running incredibly slowly and poorly.
That is such a key point. It's about protecting the quality of your existing work.
Exactly. So let's talk about the social power of this word. Why has it become so popular? Why not just say, I'm too busy?
Because I'm too busy can sound like a complaint or an excuse.
It sounds personal. It sounds subjective.
Mm.
But when you say, I don't have the bandwidth, you're reframing the problem. It's no longer about your feelings. It's about an objective, quantifiable lack of resources.
Mm-hmm. It's like saying, my workday has 8 hours, my current projects require 9 hours. The math doesn't work. It takes the emotion out of it.
It completely depersonalizes the no. And that makes it an incredibly powerful tool for professional negotiation and self-advocacy.
So let's script this out. Your manager asks, do you have the bandwidth to take on project Y? What is the wrong answer?
The wrong answer is just no, or even just yes. Both are insufficient.
Why is yes a bad answer?
Because if you're already at capacity, a simple yes is a promise you can't keep. You're setting yourself up to fail or burn out.
Okay, so what's the right answer? The strategic one.
The right answer starts a conversation about priorities. It sounds something like this. Project Y sounds important. I estimate it will require about 10 hours of focused work this week. Currently, my bandwidth is fully allocated to project A and B. Which of these should I deprioritize to make room for Y?
Wow, that is a game changer. You haven't said no. You've said yes and.
You said yes. And to do this well, we need to make a strategic choice together. You've turned it from a command into a collaboration. You're managing your manager, in a way.
And you're demonstrating that you think like a leader. You're not just a task doer, you're a resource manager.
And that's why understanding this term is so vital for avoiding burnout. It gives you the professional language to protect your time and your sanity without sounding uncooperative.
That's incredibly powerful. Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. The manager didn't just ask about bandwidth. He asked about bandwidth for a specific type of work.
Yes, the final and maybe the most modern term of all.
Deep work.
He asked, do you have the bandwidth for some deep work today? So we know what capacity is. Now we have to define the quality of that capacity.
The core definition here is really a response to our modern, distracted world. Deep work means working with intense, unbroken focus.
No distraction.
0 distractions. That means your phone is off or in another room. Your email client is closed. All your notifications are silenced. It is pure, high-concentration effort on a single, difficult task.
And to really get it, you have to contrast it with its opposite, which is often called shallow work.
Right. What's an example of shallow work?
Shallow work is all the stuff you can do while you're kind of distracted. Answering routine emails, scheduling meetings, filing an expense report, moving things around on a spreadsheet.
Stuff that keeps the lights on but doesn't really create new value.
Exactly. It's logistical, not creative or strategic. Deep work is the opposite. It's what's required for writing a complex strategy document, or coding a new feature, or analyzing a difficult set of data, the stuff that actually moves the needle.
And the reason this concept has exploded in popularity is because our work environment is actively hostile to it.
Completely. The constant pings, the dings, the notifications. Our attention is fragmented into tiny little pieces all day long. There's actually a scientific term for the damage this does.
What's that?
It's called attention residue. Every time you quickly glance at an email and then try to go back to your main task, part of your brain, a residue, is still thinking about that email.
So you're never actually giving 100% focus to the important tasks.
You're not. You're operating with a constant cognitive tax. So when a manager asks you for deep work, they are giving you permission. In fact, they are requesting that you fight against that. They're asking you to create a sanctuary for your focus.
What does that sanctuary actually look like in practice?
It means blocking out your calendar. It means putting on headphones. It means telling your colleagues, hey, I'm going into a deep work block for the next 2 hours. Please don't interrupt me unless the building is on fire.
And the time component is critical, right? You can't do deep work for 15 minutes.
Impossible. Your brain needs time to ramp up, to load the complex problem into its working memory. Most experts say the minimum effective block is 90 minutes.
So let's connect this back to bandwidth. You need the bandwidth for deep work.
Yes. Deep work is incredibly draining. It consumes a huge amount of mental energy. If you're already exhausted from a morning full of pointless meetings, if your bandwidth is low, you simply won't have the cognitive fuel to do it effectively.
So this is the big aha moment for the listener. When your boss asks this, they aren't just asking you to do a task. They're asking you to create the high-quality, focused conditions necessary to produce an excellent result.
It's a request for quality, not just activity. And understanding that changes everything. You realize your job isn't just to check the box, but to structure your day to allow for excellence.
Okay, we have done it. We've decoded all 4 terms. Now it's time for the final synthesis. Let's put it all back together and go from confusion to total clarity.
Let's do it. I'm going to read the original message one more time. Mia, let's touch base later. I want to circle back on the project. Do you have the bandwidth for some deep work today?
And now, let's hear the slow, simple, plain English translation, knowing everything we know now.
Okay, what the manager is really saying is, hey, I need to have a quick 5-minute chat with you later today to follow up on a topic about the project that we previously deferred. Before I bother you, I need to know if you have enough protected time and mental energy today to make significant, focused progress on a difficult part of that project.
It's incredible. The stress just evaporates when you hear it like that. It goes from being this vague, intimidating code to a perfectly logical, practical set of questions.
Exactly. And once you understand the questions, you can provide a brilliant answer. So let's look at the scripted reply from our source material. This is how the person responded after getting this clarity.
Okay, let's hear the professional response.
The reply was, sure, let's touch base at 2 p.m. I have bandwidth this afternoon to schedule 2 hours of deep work.
That is just perfect. It's a masterclass.
It's 12 words of pure professional competence. Let's break it down. Let's touch base at 2 p.m. You've acknowledged the request and proposed a specific, concrete time. I have bandwidth this afternoon. You've confirmed your capacity. You've answered the resource question directly to schedule 2 hours of deep work. You've confirmed not just the quantity of time, but the quality of time you're committing. You're promising a focused, high-value result.
And think about what that reply signals to the manager. It says, I understand you. I speak your language. I am organized. I manage my time well, and I am focused on delivering quality.
It's proactive, it's clear, it's specific. The listener has gone from being a victim of the jargon to a master of it. They're using the language to manage their own workload and demonstrate their value. That is the definition of turning knowledge into action.
It really is. Okay, we have gone through a lot of detail, but I think the core ideas are now really clear. Let's just do a super quick recap of the 4 terms one last time.
Let's do it. First, touch base. That just means talk briefly. A quick, focused chat.
Second, circle back. That means return to a topic later. Parking a discussion to deal with at a better time.
Third, bandwidth. That means your available time and, more importantly, your mental energy, your capacity.
And fourth, deep work. Pure, unbroken focus. No distractions to produce high-quality work.
Which brings us to our final thought. We've talked about how useful these terms can be. They're tools for efficiency, for managing your work. But as you go forward, and as you hear this language more and more, keep a little critical part of your brain switched on. And when you hear a piece of corporate slang, just ask yourself one question. Is this phrase genuinely adding clarity and efficiency? Or is it just being used to make a simple request sound more complicated and important than it really is?
Wow, I sound so professional now. Thanks.
No problem. Which slang word is your favorite? Tell us in the comments.
See you tomorrow.